No one can control everything. The all-power leader only exists in myth. We should know more about our own strengths and the weaknesses, and the way we should behave. To become a successful leader, we should comb through our past and analyze the detail to find out who we really are. Today's story should start with my childhood experiences. My family is from Xiamen, a romantic island in southern China. In China, the family structure is generally more complex and there is a lot of interaction between relatives. But more often than not, the closer the people are, the more malicious they are. I was a naughty child, and when I look back at my writing from primary school, I can clearly see that I was less mature than my peers. As a result, I was not a good student, and my teacher thought I was a hopeless child. This was in sharp contrast to my father, who was the most successful person in the family, perhaps because they were jealous of my father's achievements. My relatives often asked me about my academic performance at family gatherings. In fact, they knew that I often failed my exam, but I still brought it up again and again during the meal. Although I was very young at that time, I could still feel their malicious intent. Of course, I can't completely blame them for my lost self-esteem. After all, I was fat and didn't study well. Just like the loser, which was completely different from the image of the sons of a successful entrepreneur. This incident has profound impact on me later. In 2016, I came to Vancouver to attend high school. Due to work commitment, my parents only stayed with me in Vancouver for a few days. At first, I attended school in North Vancouver. When I first arrived, I was ignorant and confused about the future. Perhaps because I had always been a bad student as a child, I had no vision for the future. Perhaps because I have been defined as a bad student by my teacher and relatives for a long time, I was not anxious about it. Because I lacked knowledge about Vancouver schools, the first school I chose was not a good one. I was surrounded by rich kids who were always competing with each other. That year, my father's business took a nosedive due to the economic environment, and our family's financial situation was no longer good. This caused a great deal of stress for my father. One time, when my father was drunk, he held my hand and said to me, "Son, it's hard to me. You must work hard." At that moment, I noticed a wrinkle on my father's face and a few white hair on his head. I was deeply moved and it was time to change the situation. After some careful consideration, I decided to transfer school. Since my parents didn't know much about high school in Canada and they weren't around, I have to rely on myself. And the current financial situation of that family didn't allow me to make mistakes in my decision. Life is actually a gamble. Buying stock is a gambling. Betting on the value of a company will increase. And investing in a business is also a gambling, except that in a business, we are betting on ourselves. As it turns out, I bet right this time. I transferred to a brand new school, said goodbye to comparing, and embraced a group of motivated friends. I made this choice without complete confidence and without anyone to support me, which was an important turning point in my life. In management, if we have to make a decision on something that is life or death, as long as the odds of winning are high enough, we should just go ahead and execute rather than overthinking it. In this way, we will have a greater chance of getting a better outcome. I become more motivated, studied hard, exercised, and participated in various volunteer activities. Almost in an instant, I began to want to prove myself. I want to turn the humiliation my relative had shown me at the family gatherings into motivation to prove to them that I was not a useless child, and that I would be as good as my father. Looking back on my thought at that time, although I turned my resentment for my relatives into motivation, this resentment was perhaps too narrow-minded. My father has always taught me that people must be open-minded. In fact, jealousy is human nature. Everyone has an angel and a devil in their mind, fighting each other. After entering university, I met all kinds of people, and my inner devil almost won over my angel. Although my father has taught me from a young age that I should be honest and upright and not do anything to harm others, I found that those people around me who were more cunning were often able to gain more benefits. They harm the interests of others and gain benefits for themselves. I began to waver and reconsider what kind of person I should become. At that time, it seems that those who were more honest and always thought of others often did not get a good ending. But in fact, although the cunning people can get short-run benefits, but in long run, they are often seen by others. Take my father as an example. He's not a perfect entrepreneur. He has many shortcomings in management, sometimes has a bad temper, and often yells at his subordinates when they make mistakes. But surprisingly, his subordinates all have a very good opinion of him and have followed him for decades. Sincerity and kindness are the real reason for this. My father is a leader who knows how to give more benefit to his subordinates, even he cannot profit from them. He will give most of the benefit to his subordinates rather than keeping everything for himself. Secondly, no matter what difficulties his subordinates encountered, he would definitely do his best to help them. People are good at observing, and in the long run, everyone will treat others as they would like to be treated. Kindness is always the most important factor in becoming a successful manager. This phenomenon is especially obvious in the long run, and trust between people is often built in small things. Just as there are night and days in 24 hours a day, angel and devil always coexist in society. And this exists in everyone's thought. In the future, whether in management or in everyday life, I will choose to be like my father, to be the brightest star in the dark night sky.